Have you ever wondered why pair skating is often called the most dangerous sport on ice? Every time two skaters step onto the rink together, they aren't just performing beautiful choreography. They're placing their complete trust in another human being while moving at speeds of nearly 30 miles per hour. One tiny mistake can send someone crashing onto solid ice from several feet in the air. Yet somehow, one pair has made these impossible routines look effortless. Riku Miura and Ryuichi Kihara have captivated millions of fans around the world with performances that seem almost magical. But what most people never realize is that their success isn't simply about talent. It's built on a collection of hidden rules that almost nobody notices. These are the invisible details that separate ordinary pairs from world champions. Today, we're pulling back the curtain to reveal the secrets that made Riku one of the greatest partnerships in modern figure skating. And by the end of this video, you'll never watch pair skating the same way again. When people think about figure skating, they usually imagine graceful costumes, elegant music, and beautiful spins. It looks peaceful from the stands or on television. But underneath that elegance lies one of the most physically demanding sports in the Olympic Games. Now imagine trying to perform every jump, every spin, and every turn while another person's safety depends entirely on you. That is pair skating. Unlike singles skating, where every athlete controls only themselves, pair skating creates a completely different challenge. Two athletes must think as one. Every movement must happen at exactly the same moment. Every edge of the blade must match perfectly. Every heartbeat almost seems synchronized. If one partner hesitates by even a fraction of a second, everything can fall apart. This is the first hidden rule that casual fans rarely notice. Pair skating isn't really about skating together. It's about becoming one athlete with two bodies. And that's exactly what made Riku Miura and Ryuichi Kihara so extraordinary. When fans watch them glide across the ice, it almost feels like they're connected by an invisible string. Their timing is so precise that every movement flows naturally into the next. But that level of synchronization doesn't happen overnight. It takes years, thousands of hours, and countless failures. Every champion pair has experienced terrifying falls during practice. There are days when lifts collapse, throws go wrong, and confidence disappears. Cameras almost never capture these moments because they happen long before competition day. The audience only sees perfection. The athletes remember every painful mistake that made perfection possible. This brings us to another hidden rule of pair skating. Trust is more important than talent. That statement surprises many people. After all, Olympic athletes are expected to possess incredible strength and technical skill. Surely talent is the most important ingredient. Actually, it isn't. Imagine standing on a narrow blade just a few millimeters wide while someone throws you high into the air. For a few seconds, you aren't touching the ice. You have no control over your direction except what your partner has already given you. Would you jump if you didn't trust the person throwing you? Of course not. Now imagine the opposite role. You're responsible for launching another human being several feet above your head. A mistake could cause a devastating fall. Would you even attempt that without complete confidence? Again, the answer is no. That's why trust comes before technique. Before coaches teach difficult lifts, twists, or throw jumps, they first build confidence between partners. Without trust, advanced elements become impossible. This is one of the biggest reasons Riku became so successful. Their confidence in each other wasn't something created during competitions. It was built quietly during ordinary practice sessions when nobody was watching. Every successful catch, every safe landing, every difficult lift, every recovery after a mistake. Little by little, those moments formed an unbreakable partnership. Then something remarkable happened. The difficult skills stopped looking difficult. Fans watching from home often say the same thing. They make everything look so easy. But that's actually one of the greatest compliments any pair can receive. Because if pair skating looks easy, it means the athletes have hidden thousands of hours of work behind a few minutes of performance. The greatest champions never allow the audience to see how difficult something truly is. Riku Miura and Ryuichi Kihara mastered that illusion better than almost anyone. But here's another secret. Strength alone isn't enough. Many people assume the male partner carries most of the workload because he's lifting his partner over his head. That couldn't be further from the truth. In reality, both athletes are performing incredible feats of strength at exactly the same time. When Ryuichi lifts Riku above his head, fans naturally focus on his upper body power. But watch Riku carefully. She's not simply being carried. She's engaging her entire core, balancing every muscle, controlling every movement, and making constant adjustments while suspended high above the ice. If she loses body tension for even an instant, the entire lift becomes unstable. In other words, both athletes are lifting together. One provides the power, the other provides the balance. Remove either one and the element fails. That's why pair skating coaches often describe their athletes as engineers rather than dancers. Every movement follows precise physics. Every angle matters. Every hand placement matters. Every centimeter matters. And perhaps most importantly, every decision must happen instantly. Think about driving a car. When something unexpected happens, your brain needs time to react. Now imagine skating at high speed while spinning, jumping, and avoiding disaster, all within fractions of a second. That's everyday life for elite pair skaters. Their reactions become so automatic that they don't consciously think about each movement anymore. Sports psychologists sometimes call this flow. Athletes describe it differently. They simply say everything slows down. Time feels different. The music fades away. The crowd disappears. Only the partnership remains. Many longtime fans believe that's exactly what they witnessed whenever Riku Ryu performed their best programs. It wasn't just technical excellence, it was complete unity. And here's something even more fascinating. This level of chemistry cannot be faked. You can teach skating skills, you can improve strength, you can perfect choreography. A genuine partnership develops only after years of shared victories, painful defeats, injuries, disappointments, and countless hours spent solving problems together. Every challenge becomes another layer of trust. Every setback becomes another lesson. Every comeback strengthens the bond even further. That's why replacing a partner is never as simple as finding another talented skater. You're not replacing one athlete, you're rebuilding an entire relationship from the beginning. For Riku Miura and Ryuichi Kihara, that relationship became their greatest competitive advantage. While other teams relied mostly on athletic ability, Riku Ryu developed something much harder to measure: complete understanding. Sometimes they could recognize what the other person was thinking without saying a single word. A slight glance, a subtle nod, a tiny adjustment before the music even started. Those silent moments often made the difference between an ordinary performance and a championship-winning skate. And yet, despite everything we've uncovered so far, we've only scratched the surface. Because the most dangerous element in pair skating isn't the throw jump. It isn't the lift. It isn't even the death spiral. The greatest hidden challenge is something every champion must conquer long before they ever step onto Olympic ice. And it's the reason so many incredibly talented pairs never become legends. The greatest hidden challenge in pair skating isn't a jump, a lift, or even one of the breathtaking elements that leave audiences holding their breath. It's fear, not the kind of fear most people experience before giving a speech or taking an important exam. This is something much deeper. It's the fear of knowing that one tiny mistake could change everything in an instant. Imagine standing on the ice, hearing the music begin, and knowing that within the next few minutes you'll have to throw your partner several feet into the air, catch them at full speed, and continue skating as if nothing extraordinary just happened. There is no time to hesitate. There is no opportunity to stop and reset. The performance moves forward no matter what. That is the reality every elite pair skater accepts. And perhaps no team understood that better than Riku Miura and Ryuichi Kihara. What made them so special wasn't that they never felt fear. It was that they learned how to trust each other enough to move through it. That's a difference most viewers never notice. Champions aren't fearless. They've simply trained themselves to perform despite their fear. Nowhere is that more obvious than during one of the most spectacular skills in all of figure skating, the throw jump. To the audience, it looks almost effortless. Ryuichi grips Riku's hand, they build speed together, and suddenly she's soaring high above the ice before landing on a single blade as if gravity barely exists. It lasts only a few seconds, but those few seconds represent years of training. Here's what most fans don't realize. Riku isn't actually being thrown like a baseball. The power comes from both skaters. As they approach the takeoff, both athletes generate speed together. Their knees bend at precisely the same moment. Their edges carve matching curves into the ice. Their timing has to be exact. If Ryuichi releases even a fraction too early, the jump changes. If Riku pushes too late, the rotation changes. If either skater shifts their weight by only a few inches, the landing becomes unpredictable. There are hundreds of tiny details happening simultaneously. That's why coaches don't simply teach throw jumps. They teach consistency. The goal isn't to land one perfect jump. The goal is to land it hundreds of times until perfection becomes routine. When Riku reached the highest level of competition, spectators often focused on the height of the jump or the smoothness of the landing. What they couldn't see was the invisible communication happening between the partners. Every successful jump began long before their blades left the ice. It began with trust. Then comes another breathtaking element that often leaves audiences stunned: the twist lift. If you've ever watched one of these up close, you'll understand why coaches demand absolute precision. Riku launches into the air. She spins multiple times while flying higher than most people expect. Meanwhile, Ryuichi tracks every movement with incredible focus, preparing to catch her while both of them are still moving across the ice. Think about that for a moment. He's not catching someone standing still. He's catching an athlete rotating at high speed while both skaters continue traveling forward. The timing window is unbelievably small. Too early, and the catch becomes awkward. Too late, and it becomes dangerous. This is why pair skating isn't just about strength. It's about anticipation. The world's best pairs seem to know where their partner will be before they actually arrive there. That's exactly what separated Riku from so many competitors. They developed an almost instinctive awareness of each other's movement. After years of training together, they no longer reacted to one another. They predicted one another, and that tiny difference changed everything. Prediction is faster than reaction. Reaction waits until something happens. Prediction acts before it happens. Elite athletes in every sport understand this concept. The best quarterbacks throw the football before the receiver is open. The best goalkeepers begin diving before the ball leaves the striker's foot. The best Formula One drivers anticipate corners long before reaching them. Pair skating follows the same principle. By the time an audience sees a beautiful catch, the decision to make the catch was already happening moments earlier. That's one of the hidden rules almost nobody notices. Great pair skating is built on anticipation, not reaction. Then there's perhaps the most misunderstood element in the entire sport: the death spiral. Even the name sounds dramatic, and in many ways it is. During this move, Ryuichi anchors himself with incredible lower body strength while Riku leans backward, her body stretched almost parallel to the ice as she circles around him at remarkable speed. From the stands, it appears elegant, almost peaceful, but underneath that beauty lies incredible physical stress. Every muscle in both athletes is working. Ryuichi must hold a stable center while resisting enormous pulling forces. Riku must maintain perfect body alignment while balancing on a single blade only inches above the ice. One unstable edge, one tiny balance adjustment, one unexpected wobble, and the entire element can unravel. That's why coaches often remind skaters of something simple. Pretty doesn't win competitions, control does. Beauty is only possible because control comes first. This philosophy shaped everything Riku did. When fans praised their graceful performances, they were actually witnessing the result of extraordinary discipline. Grace wasn't an accident, it was engineered. Every smile, every extension of the arms, every synchronized movement. Behind each beautiful moment were thousands of repetitions that audiences would never see. Perhaps that's why their performances felt so effortless. The difficult parts had become invisible. But maybe the most fascinating hidden rule has nothing to do with strength or technique. It's breathing. Yes, breathing. Watch elite pair skaters closely during slow-motion replays. You'll notice something unusual. During many difficult elements, partners often inhale and exhale at nearly the same time. This isn't always intentional. It's something that develops naturally after years together. Their bodies begin operating with the same rhythm. That shared rhythm creates smoother movement, better timing, and more consistent performances. Scientists often describe this as synchronization between two people working toward a common goal. Athletes simply call it chemistry, and chemistry cannot be measured by judges' score sheets. It can't be calculated by computers, yet everyone watching can feel it. Some partnerships have perfect technique, but never truly connect. Others seem to create magic the moment they step onto the ice. Riku belonged firmly in the second group. The moment they took their starting position, something felt different. The audience leaned forward, commentators lowered their voices, fans held their breath. Everyone sensed they were about to witness something special. That kind of presence cannot be taught. It grows from years of shared experience. Every early morning practice, every exhausting workout, every frustrating setback, every victory, every disappointment, every comeback. Little by little, those moments transformed two individual athletes into one complete team, and perhaps that's the greatest hidden rule of pair skating. The medals are won long before competition day. They are earned during the ordinary mornings when no cameras are present. They're earned during difficult practices when nobody applauds. They're earned when athletes choose one more repetition instead of going home. For Riku Miura and Ryuichi Kihara, those invisible days became the foundation of every unforgettable performance. But even after mastering every technique, every lift, every throw, and every hidden rule, they still faced one opponent that no amount of training could completely prepare them for: injuries. In pair skating, injuries don't affect just one athlete. They threaten an entire partnership. A sore shoulder can change a lift. An injured back can alter timing. A damaged ankle can force changes to every jump. And when one partner suffers, both careers are suddenly placed at risk. For Riku, this challenge would test not only their physical strength, but also the very trust that had made them one of the world's greatest teams. It became the ultimate proof that championships are never won by talent alone. Sometimes they're won by resilience, and that resilience would soon become the defining chapter of their remarkable story. If there's one thing every champion eventually learns, it's this: talent can put you on the podium, but resilience is what keeps you there. For Riku Miura and Ryuichi Kihara, the biggest opponent they ever faced wasn't another skating pair. It wasn't a difficult program or an intimidating arena filled with thousands of fans. It was the constant uncertainty that comes with pushing the human body to its absolute limit. Most people see only the final performance. They see sparkling costumes, flawless choreography, and smiling faces after a successful routine. What they don't see are the weeks, and sometimes months, when simply getting through practice feels like a victory. In pair skating, injuries are almost inevitable. The sport demands explosive power, perfect balance, incredible flexibility, and endless repetition. Every lift places enormous stress on shoulders and backs. Every throw jump sends impact through knees, ankles, and hips. Every twist lift requires both partners to execute movements with split-second precision. When something goes wrong, it rarely affects just one skill. It affects everything. Imagine trying to trust someone with your life while secretly wondering whether your shoulder will hold during the next lift. Imagine preparing to catch your partner while your back is screaming in pain. Those are battles the audience never sees, yet those invisible battles often define a champion far more than any medal ever could. This is another hidden rule of pair skating. Your greatest performance doesn't happen when your body feels perfect. It happens when your mind refuses to surrender. That mindset became one of Riku's greatest strengths. Whenever setbacks appeared, they rarely allowed frustration to take control. Instead, they adapted. Maybe a lift needed to be modified. Maybe a training session had to be shortened. Maybe recovery became more important than adding another repetition. To casual fans, those adjustments seem insignificant. To elite athletes, they're often the difference between extending a career and ending one. The smartest champions understand something many people don't. Working harder isn't always the answer. Sometimes working smarter is. That lesson became increasingly important as Riku continued competing against the world's strongest pairs. Every season brought new challenges, new routines, new judging expectations, new technical standards. Standing still meant falling behind. The sport kept evolving, and they had to evolve with it. But here's what made them different. They didn't chase difficulty just for the sake of difficulty. Every new element had a purpose. Every change was carefully considered. Every improvement strengthened the overall performance instead of simply making it look more complicated. This is one reason coaches admired them so much. They understood that figure skating isn't won by performing the hardest tricks. It's won by performing the right tricks exceptionally well. That philosophy separated champions from contenders. Many teams tried to impress judges with increasingly risky elements. Sometimes it worked. Sometimes it ended in disaster. Riku approached the sport differently. They built programs that combined technical excellence with emotional storytelling. By the time the music finished, audiences remembered more than the scores. They remembered how the performance made them feel. And that's another hidden rule most viewers never consider. People don't fall in love with numbers. They fall in love with stories. Every time Riku and Ryuichi stepped onto the ice, they weren't simply executing elements. They were telling a story without speaking a single word. One moment their skating felt joyful, the next it felt powerful, then suddenly quiet and deeply emotional. Every movement had meaning. Even the transitions between major elements weren't empty spaces. They were opportunities to continue the story. That's incredibly difficult to achieve. Many athletes focus so intensely on technical execution that the emotional connection disappears. Riku somehow managed to do both. They delivered precision without sacrificing passion. That balance became one of their defining qualities. Commentators often talked about their chemistry. Fans admired their connection. Judges rewarded their presentation. But perhaps the biggest reason for all of that was surprisingly simple. They genuinely trusted each other. Trust changes body language. It changes confidence. It changes how athletes move together. When complete trust exists, hesitation disappears. Movements become smoother. Transitions become effortless. The audience may not understand exactly why a performance feels different. They simply know it does. Think about watching two dancers. One pair knows every step perfectly. The other pair also knows every step, but they truly enjoy dancing together. Even without understanding choreography, most people can instantly tell the difference. Pair skating works exactly the same way. The strongest partnerships create an emotional energy that reaches everyone watching. That's what Riku accomplished over and over again. But there was another challenge that few fans fully appreciated. Pressure, not ordinary pressure, Olympic pressure, World Championship pressure, national expectations, millions of viewers watching live. Years of preparation coming down to a performance lasting less than 5 minutes. Imagine carrying all of that every time you step onto the ice. Some athletes allow pressure to become fear, others transform it into focus. The greatest champions learn to welcome pressure because they know it means they're competing where they always dreamed of being. Riku and Ryoichi seem to embrace that mindset. Rather than skating cautiously, they often performed with remarkable freedom. That freedom didn't come from ignoring the stakes. It came from trusting the preparation. Preparation creates confidence. Confidence creates freedom. Freedom creates unforgettable performances. It's a cycle every elite athlete understands. Long before competition day, champions have already rehearsed every possible situation. Falls, mistakes, equipment issues, unexpected distractions. By preparing for everything, they reduce the power of uncertainty. Then something remarkable happens. Competition begins to feel familiar. The arena may be different, the crowd may be larger, the judges may be tougher, but the routine remains the same. Breathe, focus, trust your partner, trust your training, trust yourself. That simple routine has carried countless champions through history. It carried Riku as well. Still, even with perfect preparation, pair skating remains beautifully unpredictable. No athlete can control every variable. Ice conditions change, blades wear down. Music echoes differently inside different arenas. Tiny details can influence an entire performance. That's why mental strength becomes just as valuable as physical ability. One small mistake doesn't have to become two. One imperfect landing doesn't have to ruin the rest of the program. The greatest pairs possess an extraordinary ability to recover instantly. Viewers often don't even realize something went wrong because the athletes continue performing without panic. That skill may be the most underrated talent in figure skating. Recovery, not perfection. Recovery, because perfection is rare. Recovery is essential. Riku demonstrated that quality throughout their career. Whenever challenges appeared, they refused to let a single moment define the entire performance. They kept skating, they kept believing, they kept fighting until the final note of the music. And perhaps that's why so many fans connected with them. Their story wasn't about being flawless. It was about perseverance. It reminded people that greatness isn't measured by how often life goes according to plan. It's measured by how you respond when it doesn't. Yet even after years of mastering technique, building trust, overcoming injuries, and thriving under enormous pressure, one final hidden rule remained. A rule that almost every casual fan completely overlooks. It has nothing to do with jumps, nothing to do with spins, nothing to do with lifts. Instead, it's about something far more powerful: legacy. Because in the end, the greatest athletes aren't remembered only for the medals they win. They're remembered for the people they inspire. And the impact Riku Miura and Ryuichi Kihara left on the world of pair skating would prove to be far greater than anyone could have imagined. In sports, records eventually fall. Scores are broken. Championships change hands. New stars emerge. No matter how dominant an athlete appears, time always moves forward. That's why the most meaningful measure of greatness isn't found on a scoreboard. It's found in legacy. Long after the medals are displayed and the competitions are over, one question remains. Did they change the sport? For Riku Miura and Ryuichi Kihara, the answer is undeniable. They didn't simply win competitions. They transformed what people believed was possible for Japanese pair skating. To understand the significance of that achievement, you have to remember where the sport stood before their rise. For decades, Japan was known primarily for singles skating. The country produced world-class athletes who dazzled audiences with technical brilliance and artistic excellence. Fans filled arenas. Television broadcasts attracted massive audiences. Young skaters dreamed of becoming the next great singles champion. Pair skating, however, occupied a very different place. The discipline received less attention. Fewer athletes pursued it. The pathway to international success seemed far more difficult. Many people viewed pair skating as something dominated by other nations with longer traditions and deeper development systems. Then Riku arrived, and suddenly, perceptions began to change. That's another hidden rule of greatness. Sometimes your most important achievement isn't winning, it's expanding people's imagination. The moment young athletes see someone who looks like them achieve something extraordinary, new possibilities begin to appear. Dreams that once seemed unrealistic start feeling attainable. Barriers that appeared permanent suddenly look temporary. In many ways, that's exactly what Riku and Ryuichi accomplished. They became proof that dedication could overcome limitations, proof that trust could overcome doubt, proof that history could be rewritten. As their success grew, so did interest in pair skating throughout Japan. Young skaters began paying closer attention. Coaches saw new opportunities. Fans who previously focused only on singles competitions started discovering the unique beauty of pairs. The ripple effect spread far beyond medals. That's how real legacies are built. Not through one performance, not through one season, but through influence that continues long after the applause ends. What's especially remarkable is how naturally Riku earned the admiration of fans around the world. Part of it came from their skating, part of it came from their achievements, but a large part came from something much simpler: authenticity. In an era where athletes face constant attention and endless scrutiny, genuine personalities stand out. People recognize sincerity. They recognize humility. They recognize athletes who remain grounded despite extraordinary success. Again and again, fans described Riku using the same words: kind, hardworking, supportive, resilient. Those qualities made their victories feel even more meaningful, because audiences weren't simply cheering for talented athletes, they were cheering for people they genuinely respected. And perhaps that's the most powerful connection sports can create, when inspiration extends beyond performance, when success becomes about character as much as achievement. Throughout their journey, there were countless moments when quitting would have been easier. Injuries, disappointments, pressure, exhaustion. Every elite athlete encounters those obstacles. What separates legends from everyone else is the decision to keep moving forward anyway. Riku and Ryuichi made that decision repeatedly, not because success was guaranteed, not because the outcome was certain, but because the pursuit itself mattered. That's a lesson that extends far beyond figure skating. Everyone faces setbacks. Everyone experiences moments of doubt. Everyone encounters challenges that seem impossible to overcome. The details may differ. The principle remains the same. Progress belongs to those who continue, one step, one practice, one effort at a time. That mindset is woven throughout the entire Riku story. When you look closely, their career wasn't a straight line from struggle to success. It was a series of obstacles, adjustments, lessons, and comebacks. Every challenge taught them something. Every setback strengthened them. Every disappointment helped prepare them for future opportunities. The audience saw the victories. The journey was built by everything that happened before them. And that brings us back to the hidden rules we've uncovered throughout this story. Trust before technique, consistency before perfection, anticipation before reaction, resilience before results, connection before medals. These principles don't appear on score sheets. Judges don't assign separate categories for them, yet they influence every aspect of pair skating. Without them, even the most talented athletes struggle. With them, extraordinary things become possible. Riku understood these rules better than most. That's why their performances felt different. That's why their partnership stood out. That's why millions of people around the world became invested in their journey. When audiences watched them skate, they weren't just witnessing athletic ability. They were witnessing years of trust transformed into movement, years of sacrifice transformed into performance, years of belief transformed into achievement. And maybe that's why pair skating continues to captivate people. On the surface, it appears to be a sport about jumps, spins, lifts, and choreography. In reality, it's a sport about relationships. It's about two individuals pursuing a shared dream while accepting enormous responsibility for one another. Every successful lift contains trust. Every throw jump contains courage. Every recovery contains resilience. Every performance contains a story. Riku Miura and Ryuichi Kihara embodied all of those qualities. Their partnership reminded the world that greatness is rarely achieved alone. The strongest accomplishments often emerge from collaboration, from support, from shared determination, from people choosing to believe in each other when success still feels distant. That's a message that resonates far beyond the boundaries of an ice rink. Years from now, fans will remember the beautiful programs, they'll remember the dramatic moments, they'll remember the championships and historic achievements, but many will also remember something less tangible, the feeling of watching two athletes move with complete trust, the feeling of witnessing perseverance rewarded, the feeling of seeing possibility expand before their eyes. Those memories tend to last longer than statistics, longer than scores, longer than records, because emotion creates lasting impact, and few modern pair skating teams created emotional impact quite like Riku. So the next time you watch a pair skating performance, look beyond the jumps, look beyond the scores, look beyond the costumes and choreography. Watch the tiny details, the silent communication, the shared timing, the mutual confidence, the trust. Because that's where the true magic lives. That's where championships begin. And that's where the story of Riku Miura and Ryuichi Kihara becomes far more than a story about figure skating. It becomes a story about partnership itself. A story about what can happen when two people commit completely to a common goal. A story about overcoming fear, embracing challenge, and continuing forward no matter how difficult the path becomes. And perhaps that's the greatest hidden rule of all. The most unforgettable performances are never just about athletic skill. They're about human connection, and few teams demonstrated that truth more beautifully than Riku Miura and Ryuichi Kihara. If their journey inspired you, if these hidden rules changed the way you see pair skating, and if you want to discover more incredible stories from the world of figure skating, make sure to subscribe and join us for future videos. Because behind every champion lies a story most people never hear, and sometimes those hidden stories are even more extraordinary than the victories themselves.